Welcome to the garden. You can see all these beautiful flowers in bloom. I've steadily been improving the garden with perennial plants like sage and chives so that we get beautiful blooms like this, hopefully all year. I've got oregano planted throughout the sage, and that eventually will fill in and really cover the ground. This is a patch over here that looks basically how I want. Everything is packed. There's really no empty space. We have onions and chives and oregano, and there's a tomato just past that, and then peppers and another tomato with more oregano. I really want there to be just so many herbs that I have to cut through them in order to plant larger things like this tomato. So it's going really well. We've got marigolds along the back, so those will flower later in the summer. We've got asparagus and just all sorts of beautiful flowers like this rose. And then these ones are radishes and little mustard greens. This little white spider was just kite surfing. He strung out his little web, and it looks like it's about 10 feet long, which is enough apparently to pick him up off of the ground and kind of kite him around. This little group of radish flowers has a little resident. Can you see that little white spider? That's the one that we saw kite surfing the other day. But they do produce beautiful flowers this time of year. And if you like, you can then collect a seed, which is exactly why I'm growing these radishes. These are specifically planted for seed. So all these flowers are going to give me radish seeds. Isn't it just beautiful today? The garden just looks amazing. All the chives. I love the row of purple. And the sage that flowered is just such a surprise. But the bees are really liking these little mustard greens. So I do like to let them flower. This one was actually a volunteer. Just came up on its own. But my favorite are these sage. I was so surprised to see them flower. They're absolutely incredible. All the mint family herbs basically have this same structure, where they have tall stalks, and they're kind of square, and then they shoot off little flowers from there. So thyme, rosemary, basil, mint, they all flower in the same manner, but these are just so big. I think they're probably one of the largest ones that I've seen. They're about twice the size of rosemary flowers, probably 4 times the size of thyme flowers. They're really stunning. These dark blue and kind of dark purple are one variation that we have, and the other are these lighter purple, almost pink. So it's really interesting that we have 2 different varieties, basically, just from the same packet of seeds. And then this one is kind of trying to flower, but I think it's not getting quite as much sun, and it's kind of in a little bit more vulnerable area, so it's not doing quite as well. But it still looks great. So if we compare those flowers to these little thyme flowers, look at how small those are. They do get a little bit bigger than this, but you know, that's pretty average for a young flower. Very, very small. So you can see just how large the sage flowers are. They're so beautiful. Thank you for joining me today in the garden, and I hope to see you next time.